All right. What do you think? Is it up there? Sorry, just checking
It's
this,
live.
trying to see if it's working. Oh yeah, we're on there. Okay. What's up, internet?
Hey.
Hello.
Happy Sunday.
Hello.
Hey.
We figured we'd go live today to talk about movies and such because we haven't really done an edit or anything in a couple weeks. Just, I work full time. She works like
Not full time.
Not full time, but like the hours and such. Oh, hey Jeremy, what's up, man? Like the hours she works would be like the time I would want to do it, like Friday, Saturday. She's usually at work dealing with like crazy irate customers, like demanding that they have like extra ketchup packets with their fucking French fries and stuff. But
that's excessive, but yeah.
So we're just talking a bunch of movies that we've seen recently, giving our thoughts, stuff like that. And we're also going to be talking about some movies that we've bought recently because you can't be a movie fan without owning all these movies, right? I don't know. But where do you want to start?
Start going over some of your pickups so I can
have
my brain around
okay
what we've watched in the last couple of weeks, because we watch a few movies every weekend, and within a week, I'm like a free trial of any app where the memory deletes after a week. I even have my letterbox pulled up next to me.
Yeah, don't mind us if we're like pulling up our phones to look up actors' names and stuff, just because like some of these movies that we're going to talk about we haven't watched in a couple weeks, and we literally try to watch at least one or two new things every weekend, or rewatch something that's been a while. So if we forget names and shit, we might be checking, oh, what did I give that? Blah, blah, blah. But we'll start, I guess, with some shit that we bought recently. So we don't have that many like DVD stores left in the world, especially here. Like we're in Jersey City. Obviously, we talk about that all the time. So I don't really care if you know where the fuck we're from. But the only place we have near us are, aside from like Tunes in Hoboken, which is all like used movies and stuff like that, the only place we could get like new releases is fucking Best Buy, which sucks because they never really have everything, and they only kind of have big name movies. So it's when we come across stuff we like, I get excited, and like I fucking have a really bad tendency of like blowing any of the money I've saved on fucking DVDs. Like I'm sure a lot of people who even watch these are like, well, why the fuck do you have DVDs? It's like, I have been a movie collector my whole life. I have to have movies I love. I have to have them. But anyway, they've been doing this thing where like they have like $5 movies, and that's what do you call that shit? That's like by like the like in a supermarket, they've got like the gum and like
Impulse Buy.
Impulse Buy. So they have like this impulse section, and I blow my load every time I get to like see it.
But while I was at work yesterday, he was trying to tell me what movies he got, but I was busy because it was nice and everyone was losing their shit. But he picked up one of my all-time favorites that I haven't watched in years. So ironically, the first one he picked up to talk to you guys about is the one we just watched again last night, and I was cracking up.
Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. Like what a goddamn gem this still is to this day. The soundtrack, just everything about it, it's fucking hilarious. But I got this one because it was only $4.
$4,
which is like, dude, that's where they get me. Is like I'll buy like 10 movies if they're $4. But we never owned this for some reason, and we love this fucking movie. So Romy and Michelle.
And I'm here to announce that I still think Janeane Garofalo is the star of Romy and Michelle. She has been one of my heroes since childhood.
She is the star of that movie. All right. And in that same vein, fucking American Pie, like the original 4 of them. We watched these all last weekend. I hadn't seen like any of these in a really long time. And, they don't really hold up as well as they used to, but it's still, they don't really make like raunchy comedies like this that much anymore. So true. Everyone's a little too PC these days.
Not even that. It's just so much of it's already been done. So
what do you mean it's already been done? Like in these?
Yeah, like in terms of the humor
I don't
and
know,
the teen aspect.
A kid fucks a pie.
It's all ABD, already been done.
But anyway, got American Pie. 1 and 2 are great. 1 obviously being the best of the best. I was kind of surprised to see how bad American Wedding aged. And I forgot that like almost half the cast from like the original movies like isn't even in it. Not that good. American Reunion's good, and like it kind of wraps up the storyline for every single character, which is something you always kind of want from movies. At least I do. You know, like even Stifler fucks Finch's mom at the end, and you're just like, dude, like
it all came full circle.
What a fucking ending, right?
But we watched the first American Pie last Saturday after I got out of work. And then we watched 2 Wedding and Reunion all on Sunday. By Reunion, I was checked out.
Well, it's kind of hard to watch like all of those in a row because it's just like, oh my God. It's
very
like,
repetitive.
Yeah, how many fucking dick and fart jokes can you take, you know? Or like horny teenagers. It's like, all right, I get it. We were all teenagers once and wanted to like, I won't even get into it, but. And then what else did we get? Another impulse buy. Fucking Arachnophobia. $4. It had been a while since I had saw this one. Jeff Daniels, John Goodman. You had never seen this before?
No, you've shown me it previously, at least once or twice. We've been together like 10 years, so the amount of movies he's shown me in the past, but I don't remember. But I know I've seen it through you. But the last weekend, watching it for the first time in a while, now that he bought this fancy version.
It's just a re-release, but yeah. I didn't own this movie, even like on tape somehow.
I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it, and I wasn't expecting to.
Yeah. This one like hits all like those nostalgic notes for me. It's like just watching it, I'm like, oh my God, Julian Sands is like the insect scientist, paleontologist, or whatever the hell he is, and John Goodman is the exterminator. Like this shit fucks still to this day. It's still so much fun to watch, even though like the spiders are a little goofy looking, like any of like the fake ones. But like I forget what we were watching. Like we were watching like some behind the scenes stuff on this, and they used real spiders in this movie, which is crazy. It's funny knowing that like the spiders they use in the movie are not poisonous, because like you're watching knowing that and you're like, oh, well, like what the, it must have been hard to act to be afraid of it, even though I fucking hate spiders, but what are you going to do? All right. And then what else we got? So
you don't have to go through the whole list right away.
That's true. If you want to talk about some movies we've seen recently.
Sure.
All right.
You want to go back a couple weeks?
Start it up, babe.
So, because we haven't done this in a couple weeks, like I said, I brought up my letterbox because my memory is shot and I can't keep up with what we're doing every weekend. But I'll start all the way back at Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, okay.
The Oscars had just aired a couple weeks before we saw it. Obviously, it was a huge deal to the mainstream world, which I pay very little attention to anyway. But it came up on HBO? Showtime, one of those?
Showtime, I think, but yeah.
And he really wanted to see it. I was like, okay, I know nothing about it. I know it won. Cool. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
blew me away.
I have a tendency of like, I don't care about the Oscars, but I like to see them, like whatever's been nominated and stuff like that. I want to know why this is getting high accolades. You know, I generally don't believe in like the Rotten Tomatoes scores or critics' consensuses or anything like that. But when a movie's nominated for Best Picture, I'm like, all right, it's going to be competently put together. It's going to be at least enjoyable to me. So Everything Everywhere All at Once. I was skeptical when I first saw the trailer, and like I was like, I'm not going to see this movie because it reminded me of like the multiverse shit and all the superhero movies, and I'm just like, dude, like I already had enough time following the fact, like the superhero movies in general, because you have to watch 60 fucking movies just to understand the one you're watching now. And it's like now on top of that, you got to be like, oh no, this isn't happening in like the world now. It's happening in like this other world. And it's like, ugh. So that's why I was skeptical about this movie, but it was great. It really heartfelt. And where I was worried about enjoying the movie with the multiverse stuff is the main character's Michelle Yeoh. Who was that?
I'll
click the name. Like I said, we're gonna have to look up some of the names just because
it's a lot.
I'm pretty sure that's who it was.
Yes.
All right, Michelle Yeoh.
On the nose.
Yeah. So she finds out that there's these other universes running parallel with the current universe that she's living in. And like she is the one who can save the world from ending. And she also is like, I don't understand. I don't get it. So you as an audience member,
you're like, same girl.
Yeah, like I don't fucking know what the hell's going on. They kind of like hold your hand along with Michelle Yeoh, explaining exactly what's going on. And it's just like, to me, I liked that because I'm like, yeah, like I sometimes need to be spoon fed like what the hell is happening. I'm like, all right, whoa, her daughter is evil. Whoa, like, why is Jamie Lee Curtis have hot dog fingers? It's like, which is really funny, by the way. And I can't believe she won the Best Supporting Actress, but
I can
still like really hyped for her as a horror fan. You know, she's like one of our original Scream Queens, Final Girls, so that was awesome. But yeah, the movie's really heartfelt, and seeing all the Michelle Yeoh's lives, like how things would have panned out if she didn't marry her husband, if they didn't move to America and open up this laundromat. And there's that meme that's been going around. It's like, I would do anything to be doing laundry and taxes with you, which is like, it was just cute and adorable. Oh, we did our taxes 2 weeks ago and it fucking sucked. But great movie. I think, what did I give that movie? I gave that movie an 8.5 out of 10, which is fucking huge. It's really high for me. When I say a movie's over 8, that's like my highest recommendation, as you should see this movie, like 100%.
And I gave it a 5 out of 5, which doesn't happen easily for me with newer movies. Like I wanted to rate it that before it ended. And I was like, let me see how it ends. I got to make sure. And once the credits started, I was like, okay, yeah, 5 out of 5. Done.
Do you think it should have won Best Picture, though?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't seen all of them yet. Like, I still want to see Banshees of Inisherin. I know I'm going to love that, but like, I just haven't gotten around to watching it yet. I've been rewatching movies I really love and watching other things. Like, there's been a lot of like new horror movies and like thriller movies that are like kind of more up my alley. So like those take priority for me.
Well, we still have a lot of time today, so who knows?
Yeah, we might watch it after this or something. I don't know. But in that same vein of Everything Everywhere All at Once, we watched the war movie that is a remake of like
All
a 30s
Quiet on the
movie.
Western Front.
Yeah, All Quiet on the Western Front. You don't like war movies like at all.
Me. The only one I ever liked was Full Metal Jacket, and
fucking best, man. I think that's my favorite of all time.
Yeah, same. And I
just remember
seeing the imagery from All Quiet on the Western Front. I was like, I don't care. Put it on, whatever. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean that's another one though that it was nominated for Best Picture. I'm like, this movie's gonna fuck. I like war movies, but for me, it takes a lot for me to think they're really good. I don't know why I think that or feel that way, but like I didn't really like 1917 that much, and that was one that like.
Did we watch that?
Yeah, we did watch it.
See, case in point,
it was great. It was very well made. It just didn't hit for me, and that's kind of what made me skeptical about All Quiet on the Western Front. Is that like I'm more knowledgeable about like World War II stuff. So World War I stuff, I'm always kind of like, wait, who was it? The Allied forces and stuff like that. Like we were even Googling like
during the movie because it's a generational thing.
Yeah, that's
true.
We're
millennials. We were taught World War II and on.
Yeah.
In school and American.
I know we learned like World War I,
but like a blip compared to World War II. And
because it was huge.
Second generation American. My dad's parents moved here after World War II ended. They moved here from Europe, so it hit harder. I've also heard about World War II endlessly through my childhood. So World War I was like a blip on my radar.
Just a sec. So I want to give her some more love here. I'm taking over the screen. There we go. But yeah, like that's kind of why I didn't really like 1917. It was very well made. It just like, I don't know. It was just kind of like you're following like the one guy from what I remember. I don't even remember it that well, so forgive me if I'm like confusing it, but like it's shot so well and beautiful, but it didn't really click for me. So watching All Quiet on the Western Front, it kind of gave me new eyes to World War One, because not only is it like not the American forces, you're following a German soldier, which is like us as Americans, like we only like show stuff
that we can directly relate to.
Exactly. It's like, we watch Saving Private Ryan, we're following the American forces, and even Dunkirk did the same thing. Like we followed the British forces, which was nice. And it's because I, as an American, only learned the American side for the most part. But All Quiet on the Western Front follows like a young like teenage German soldier who, like, with his buddies, there's no news or like social media, obviously, like at that point in time. So they all jump at the chance to join the army thinking they're going to get laid, like, look at us in the uniforms.
But it's also just something you did back then. Like what?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. I wasn't alive in 1916.
If either of us were, we wouldn't be on YouTube.
No, YouTube did not exist.
We'd be in a lab being studied,
but they immediately get sent into the trenches, and like their one friend fucking blows up within 24 hours. It is so gnarly.
Yeah.
Like, if it's one thing that I really like about war movies is like how realistic the battle scenes can be. And in this one, holy shit, like I felt like my heart palpitating, like watching them like jump in and out of the trenches. Like when the bombs blow off, you see the guy's fucking arm go flying. There's and like just the camaraderie that they have in this movie. Like they make friends with other soldiers. They're stealing food from like farmers because they're going so hungry, and like Italy refuses to accept surrender. So these German soldiers are like, well, hey, like we want to surrender. There's no fucking way we can win. You're going to kill off our entire population. And God, there's just scenes where like they're running across a battlefield out of the trenches, and like the tanks come in and they just run over these poor German soldiers. And all of a sudden, like coming over the hump, you see this dude in this big giant like fucking tank and like flamethrower lighting people on fire. It was incredible. Like, oh my God, visceral and really violent. I loved it all the way through. I was so excited to see what was going to happen, hoping like the main character, spoiler alert, like if he was going to survive. And no, everyone like you become accustomed to seeing throughout the entire movie dies, which is like really like tugs at you because you're following these dudes around. You're like, yo, you can do this shit. Come on, man. And like they're fucking German soldiers. Like they were our enemy in World War I, but like the movie's so well made that you're like, come on, guys, you could do this. Like one more day of the war, you can survive. And like, holy shit, man. But great movie. Like I gave that one an 8.6 out of 10. And I think like as far as war movies go, like my favorite would probably be Full Metal Jacket. That I'd give like a 9.4 out of 10 because it was just amazing.
I gave All Quiet on the Western Front 3.5 out of 5, but that's saying a lot coming from someone who had no interest in it.
Yeah, just to like drive it even further home how much she does.
It's a really well done movie.
But like just to even drive it home further, the last time I put on Saving Private Ryan, I just was like in the mood for some reason.
And I think I left the room.
She left the room and went into our bedroom because she's like, I can't do this shit. And like it was at the D-Day Normandy scene, which is like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Okay, again, quick reminder, Bill. I have epilepsy and I'm very sensory sensitive at certain points. And there are days when we're walking to work and it's a 2-mile walk, which isn't far by any means. But when they're doing construction, which they always are here, there are days where I have to plug my ears when we're walking past all the jackhammers because I can't deal with it. And the next day I'll be totally fine, unfazed.
Yeah.
But that was one of those moments, and that is the worst movie to be exposed to when you have sensory sensitivities.
Yeah. But just driving it home.
Yeah,
like, that's why I like took a while to see it as well. It was just like I was like, I don't want Vicky to like be bugging out while we're watching it. But like it wasn't tame at all, but it was tame enough for her to like be able to follow the story, and
the storyline was there. That's
it probably helped the fact that like once the tanks and shit came out and like the dude with the flamethrower, I'm like on the couch like, fuck yeah, man, like this shit is crazy. Like she was probably like, oh cool. Like, like when you're with someone who's excited about something, you like in turn get excited too. I think it had a little bit to do with that as well.
I also think I just was relieved that there was an enjoyable storyline there for me to enjoy as a complete outsider. I know so little about World War One. I have no interest in war movies, but also, again, to drive it even further home for Bill, seeing it from a different perspective made all the difference. A movie you skipped over in the order that we watched the movie.
Oh, I just wanted to bring it up next because we were talking about like the Oscars and stuff like that. And I think aside from Maverick, that's the only other one we've seen. Oh no, we watched Elvis too. Elvis was pretty good, but
I always forget.
We watched that so long ago. We're not going to be talking about that. Same with Maverick. Maverick was great. I don't think either of those should have won Best Picture. So I think I would have given it to All Quiet on the Western Front personally. I loved Everything Everywhere All at Once, but All Quiet on the Western Front was beautiful. Like everything about it, I loved it.
Well, a movie we watched in between that and Everything Everywhere All at Once was Knock at the Cabin. We finally saw it.
M. Night Shyamalan.
My mom, who is probably watching this either right now or when this
she'll watch it back
after we're done, she texted me and you.
Yeah.
You need to see it. You need to see it. My review on Letterboxd is I just don't know how to feel about this movie.
Why?
And I still kind of feel that way. I even said that to you when we finished it. It's like I didn't dislike it. I liked it on Letterboxd. That's saying a lot. I want to go back in. I think I'll appreciate it more in knowing what happens because as I've explained in our previous videos, I don't do trailers. I don't watch trailers. I like going in with as clear of a mind of what we're about to watch as possible. So I don't have any sort of insight into it, opinions based on what I've seen already, what have you, as little to know as possible.
You good?
Yeah, I was losing my track of words.
Your track of words.
I'm tired. But
I don't know. M. Night Shyamalan movies to me have not been good
in years.
Since the last one I think I remember like really, really liking was probably Signs. Obviously The Sixth Sense was amazing. Like if you say you guessed the ending, you're full of shit. I don't care what you say. But Signs was great. And then like you started to notice this pattern of his where it was like, like what's going to be the big twist? Like surprise, they're all aliens. Surprise, they're allergic to water. Surprise, these people in the village aren't actually living in the 1700s. They're just psychos who live off the highway and like blah, blah, blah.
Thank you for reminding me the end of that movie because I couldn't remember it because I watched it once.
But spoiler alert, there is no twist really at the end of a Knock at the Cabin.
That's the twist.
And what it's about basically is this crew of people, Dave Bautista and like this gang of people he has, show up to this cabin where a gay couple and their adopted daughter are on like a little vacation, and Dave Bautista and crew apparently are aware that like they have to convince one of the three of these people to be sacrificed in order to prevent the apocalypse, which is like pretty interesting, you know. And Dave Bautista like knocks this role out of the park. Like I'm not a huge Dave Bautista fan, but like I can't deny that he's pretty good at acting for like a big muscly old wrestler dude. But who else was in it? Jonathan Groff from Mindhunter. It was cool to see him. Rupert Grint not playing like the little redheaded kid from Harry Potter was cool. He was like kind of like a disheveled drunk. But yeah, they tie this family up and are like, hey, like you gotta kill somebody or the world's gonna end. And you don't know if they're telling the truth or not.
Yeah.
And if they refuse, one of the people who tied them up and stuff have to sacrifice themselves. My biggest problem with the movie is that like you don't get to see it fully. You like these people are dying, and on the news that's playing, you see like little hints that like, oh shit, like whoa, there's a new plague starting. Like whoa, all the planes are falling out of the sky. But like you're not witnessing it so much, and that's my biggest problem with it. Is like I don't know, was the world really going to end because of this? But it was interesting. It's almost like a Children of the Corn religious kind of vibe, but like without the religion. Like there's no religion, which was shocking to me. It seemed like it was going to be religious from the trailers.
It is in a sense, but light-handed. It's not so heavy-handed that it's thrown in your face, because I don't remember it. I guess it's mentioned in the movie, or I read it later. I don't remember. This was in March that we watched this. That was too long ago for my brain. But
it's a month ago.
David Bautista and his crew represented the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And once I found that out, I was like, yes.
Yeah. That was like my favorite part of the movie.
That it was in the movie. It was the realization. Like that's what they represent. That's why there's 4 of them. That's why they came to us.
Yeah. So like all the attackers have committed suicide at this point, and the couple are like still with the daughter, and they're like, well, what should we do? Blah, blah, blah. And they're having a conversation, and like planes are starting to fall at the sky. The forest around their vacation home is like lighting on fire. And you're like, oh shit, like they got to make a choice, like kill someone or like try to survive and see if this apocalypse thing was a hoax. And it ends up that Jonathan Groff fucking offs himself after saying like, no, we just got visited by the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And that was kind of cool. But other than that, like the movie itself is just very, very boring. Like it takes a while to get moving. You don't get to see a lot happen on screen. You're just kind of supposed to feel for these people. And I just never connected like fully to any of them. But, and the little girl.
I loved her. Bill didn't.
She loved the little girl. I just found how she was written was a little off. Like,
because she was very mature for her age.
Yeah, and she's definitely like, I don't know, what would you say, like 8 years old, 10, 11? I think she mentions it, but I don't know. It just wasn't very believable to me, which didn't take away from the movie at all. Movie was just whatever. I gave it no Shyamalan twist.
No, that is the twist.
There was no twist, which is all right. Like, hopefully he gets on track. We were both
like, whoa, watching it. I remember that.
Yeah. I was happy about that, and that's why I avoided that's why I just didn't want to see it. I'm like, well, all right, like sick. Like, what's the twist going to be at the end? Happy that it never happened, but
I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. And I liked it on Letterboxd. Like I said, I didn't dislike it. I just.
What does that mean? Does that mean you like are like? It's almost like you recommend it.
You can rate it, and then if you leave a heart, it means you liked it.
I don't use Letterboxd.
No, he uses his Instagram story to review movies.
Yeah,
which a lot of our friends.
Which you could follow us on Instagram and shit like that if you want. But I can't do the Letterboxd thing because I have too much like ADD in a sense that like, well, I've seen like a million movies, and I'll just start like. I'll spend all day typing movies I've seen in reviews, and like I'll go nuts because it'll take me forever.
And that is why I only review them as I watch them.
She's
because
smart.
This is like my 3rd Letterboxd account now, and because I get tired of doing it and would delete them, and now I only review them as I watch them. So I'm now just rewatching movies I've seen hundreds of times, but I'm reviewing them and by reviewing them I mean rating them and liking them or not liking them, because I'm not as articulate about movies as he is. I'm like, that was a fine movie. Or...
That was pretty good. No, sometimes it's easier for me to articulate my points through words, and then sometimes it's easier for me to articulate my points through talking like this. But I ended up giving Knock at the Cabin 6.6 out of 10, which is, it's good. If you're into like apocalyptic movies, like definitely check it out. It definitely feels like a Shyamalan movie. So like, again, if you like his movies, like I think you'll like this, and it's worth it. It's worth a watch if you're into Bautista too. Like
I thought he was great.
Probably the best role he's ever done. Like at least in my opinion.
I really enjoyed his character. The opening scene.
You feel for him.
He made me feel for him. And that's part of why I didn't know how to feel about the movie, was that I was so torn. Like, who am I supposed to feel for?
Yeah.
Because you get it on both sides.
And like he's technically, I don't like to use the word villain because they're not villains. But he's more in line with like you as an audience member being led to believe as a bad guy. But he is like the only person I cared about in that whole fucking movie. But anyway, still pretty good. We want to talk about more movies that we got.
Sure.
Split it up nice and even so that way we're not going crazy here. Let me just take a sip of my Coca-Cola. Oh shit! I forgot how to drink.
Had a me moment.
Yeah. All right. Like I was saying before, the only place we have nearby is fucking Best Buy.
Best Buy and Target has
Target
like
doesn't have
5
shit.
movies to choose
They
from.
pretty much have gotten rid of physical media as a whole. But one of my favorite things about like going and buying movies is finding shit out, you know? Like I could very easily go on Amazon or like Shout Factory, Scream Factory's website and order stuff. But I have such a soft spot for like, you know, the video store days or like going to Suncoast Video and being like, oh my God, I'm seeing it, holding it, being like, yup, I'm buying it. So like I never pulled the trigger on ordering these or anything like that, but they had The Fog and Carrie steelbooks from Scream Factory, the new 4Ks that came out and shit. The only one we've watched so far was The Fog, which we watched yesterday. It's, you know, I didn't really need to upgrade it to 4K. I just like really like the movie, and I'm not one of those people who likes to buy every fucking movie that comes out unless. And not every movie that comes out, like every version of a movie that comes out, unless like I really like it, and I really, really like The Fog. This one though, like the picture quality didn't really do anything for me. Like we watched it yesterday, and I was like, it doesn't really like look that great. The sound was better, that's for sure. But anyway, I love The Fog. Happy to find this in the wild and not order it online. Plus, I needed to upgrade it anyway. I have never had a cool version of The Fog, and now I do. And then the other one I got was Carrie. I found it like really odd that I've never owned Carrie on Blu-ray or anything like that. So I was like, well, we haven't watched it yet, but now I've got.
You just got it yesterday, so
Yeah,
we have time.
We have time. But Carrie, all-time classics. This is basic. Travolta, Nancy Allen, like so good. But I'll check that out. But so far, Scream Factory hasn't really impressed me with like the way they transfer them to 4K. It's like, dude, I'm spending like $30 on a movie. Like, I want it to look good and be awesome. So far, they're just okay. They're not really much improvement there.
I'm going to interrupt you because the next 3 pickups
are favorites
are
of yours?
great.
Okay.
So I figure we can get right along because
what else we've seen?
Yeah, it's only 3 more.
Sure.
In terms of newer movies. The next one is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies that we watched about 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We heard nothing but bad things leading up to it, if at all.
Oh, sorry. All right, there we go. But yeah, I had no desire to see this fucking movie. It just, even the trailer is leading you as a viewer of the trailer, not even the fucking movie, that this movie is about a bunch of Gen Z kids like getting fucked up and like using internet it words like gaslighting and like triggered and like I hate to use the word woke because like I don't give a fuck if a movie's woke, or I don't even technically fully understand when people say that. Like, what do you mean? But it's just like too young almost for me, like kids like doing TikToks for fun and like I don't know, taking a bunch of Adderall and shit like that. Like, dude, I'm too old for that kind of shit, so I don't get it. But like, anyway, I avoided this movie, and then I saw it was on Showtime, and I'm like, you know what? I have a feeling I'm going to like this movie because everyone shit on it. Everyone shit on this movie. I'm like,
if they talked about it at all.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? It would be really awesome if I watched this movie and I just loved it, and like was like, man, everyone was so wrong about this.
Yeah, I honestly always hope for that when I see movies slammed.
Sadly, that is not the case with this one.
I gave it a 0.5 star on Letterboxd. There is a twist, so I was excited because I went in only knowing that there was a twist. That's all I knew about it. Because the only thing everyone could talk about was the twist.
That's what you were hearing?
Yeah, like I said, I don't read reviews. I don't watch trailers. I knew so little going in. I didn't even get why it was called Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I was just
I-
immediately thinking of.
So you didn't even watch the trailer for
No,
it?
nothing.
Okay, all right.
You know this about me. You always say, "Oh, the new trailer for blah blah is up," and I'm like, I don't care. I'm not going to watch it. But because of the coloring used on the cover art for the poster art, what have you, made me think of Spring Breakers, which I've also never seen.
Spring Breakers is better than this.
But I'm not in any rush to see it. I don't care. It just doesn't. But I thought it was going to be in line with that, which I've never seen it. So
it's an A24 movie too, which is like. They've got a pretty good track record. Like their movies are, I hate another terminology that I hate people are using these days is elevated horror. It's like just because a movie is using smart terminology or like not doing jump scares doesn't make it elevated. Like it's a smarter horror, I guess. But A24, you know, they did Hereditary, Midsummer, Men, which was awesome, by the way. I loved Men. What else did they do? That we saw.
A24 is one of those companies that.
Oh, The Lighthouse.
To quote Chris Farley and Tommy Boy, if you want me to take a dump in a box and mark it guaranteed, I will. I've got time. That's like A24. It's just like, I don't even want to name like movie companies in terms of like Blu-rays and stuff. It's like they know they're going to get butts in seats. People are going to want to see it.
You think that?
Yes. And I think even putting someone as well known to Gen Z and the younger crowd in general as Pete Davidson, who you wouldn't relate to being like an actor and things, at least not me.
He's just too all over the place. But my point in bringing A24 is like this studio like only gets involved with like really like good movies, you know what I mean? Like, and by good, I mean like, you know, well-made, competent movies. So I'm like, this movie, how bad could it possibly be? Ugh.
I'll still rewatch it because it's one of those things I think going in knowing what culminates, I think it'll hopefully better my opinion of it. I don't know.
When we were watching it, I could tell she wasn't like invested in it that much. I was
getting pissed.
Yeah, I like wanted to see what happened because it did like catch me a little bit. So like the story is like a bunch of rich like 20 somethings, I guess you'd call them, maybe late teens, but probably 20 somethings.
Irrelevant.
Rich. They're rich people. They converge on Pete Davidson's house, and not Pete Davidson the actor, but his character.
His character's father's mansion.
In order to like ride out a hurricane. Mm-hmm. And essentially, you know, like you have buddies over when it's gonna snow and like you party, you drink, and like yeah, come like get snowed in with us and party. That's what they're doing in this movie. And it's called Bodies, Bodies, Bodies because they play this game
called
Bodies, where like they someone like picks a thing and they find out they're the killer, and like in the dark they like essentially are playing tag, and it's like you have to figure out who killed who. But like, you know, interesting enough, but the whole time it just kept making me feel old. And like I'm okay with that, you know, like I listen to music that comes out like, oh, it sound like my dad, you know, like my grandpa, like music back in my day, old man yells at cloud. Like I just don't get it. But like these kids are like getting drunk, doing cocaine, and like making TikTok videos in this mansion. I'm just like, dude, I can't relate to this bullshit. And they're using all the new internet words, you know, gaslighting, triggered. It's just insane. They even like poke fun at that. I think Pete Davidson's like sort of girlfriend in the movie like gets mad at him, or he gets mad at her. And he's like, oh, don't listen to her. This is just like another one of those internet words she heard. And it's just like, oh, sick. This movie.
It's meta in that way that it's bringing up the very thing that
they're doing.
Fun at the very thing they're doing.
And I was like, okay, like this is like still early on in the movie. So like, you're like, okay, they're aware of it. So they're not going to do it too much, you know, like they're going to make fun of it. No. The problem with this movie is that like it becomes the very thing it's making fun of. You know, like the girls are just so unlikable in this movie. Even like their boyfriend types, or you know, like they're I don't know, like rich white boys who are drinking like cappuccinos and like wearing Dockers, but like do coke. I don't know. But the story is they see like Pete Davidson all of a sudden pops up out of the dark and like his throat is slashed. And they're like, holy shit, who did it? Because it was dark and like they were all separated from each other.
And now he's locked out of the house in the hurricane.
And dying.
Bleeding out.
So like the whole time, the movie's like essentially a whodunit. Like who killed Pete Davidson? Fuck, spoiler alert. Sorry I keep saying that. This is filled with spoilers, everything we're talking about. But
also the movie came out last
year. A
long
time ago. We just happened to catch it now, which is like says a lot. Like we've avoided this for a long time because yeah. But the whodunit is, oh my God, like, no, you killed Pete Davidson. Like, oh my God, you killed him. Why'd you kill him? And these girls and guys are all hiding from one another and accidentally killing each other and bringing up the worst characteristics that all these friends have or tendencies they have. Like the one girl's got a really bad drug problem and she's been to rehab and she does coke again. And like, it's bad. And they end up all like killing one another. And the reveal at the end is like when there's only 2 of the characters left alive, they finally open Pete Davidson's phone and see that he was filming a TikTok. Yeah, he was filming a fucking TikTok. This is the twist of the movie. And he accidentally cut himself with a machete, a samurai sword.
Yeah, that his father had for no good reason.
So all these fucking people killed each other and were like essentially hating each other and just ruining their friendships with one another, but more importantly, killing each other over who killed him when it was him all along. And it was like, that would have been a nice payoff, but like you hate all the characters so much that like you like almost want a good payoff.
There's no gratification in it.
There's no gratification in it. And like, again, I hate to bring up like feeling old, but it's like, dude, like the reveal of this movie is that this motherfucker died filming himself make a TikTok. Ugh, like I was so mad when it ended. I couldn't believe it.
The thing I want to know is how his phone still worked for them to see that he was recording.
Yeah, after it was in a
hurricane. I'm like,
I'm sorry if I like went off on a tangent and talked about that movie a lot. Like I fucking hated that movie.
Bill's big mad still.
Yeah, that meme that's been going around, I was like, Pete Davidson looks like the Hellraiser Cinnabon Butterball. It popped into my memories recently, and I was just, but yeah, my advice is you don't see bodies. That was a swing and a fucking miss from A24. It was garbage. I reluctantly gave it a 2.3 out of 10 because of the beginning. I was like, cool, I can't wait to see what happens. And then it just like, every step of the way, I'm like, hate this, hate that character.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then the reveal, I was like, no, this movie sucks. Everyone that talked about it was 100% right. It was terrible. Don't see it.
The next movie we watched the same day. So I was just, I guess, trying to ruin our one day together. We're all going to the World's Fair. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy it. I did. Would you like to start us off on that one? Because you had a very particular take on it.
We did this. We're doing this live, so I want us to kind of like talk about what the movie's about. So forgive our like stumbles here and there. But We're All Going to the World's Fair is about a like young girl who is on YouTube. Like they don't say YouTube, but like she's on like a streamer. And, vlogs about her life and shit like that. And she stumbles upon this challenge called
the World's Fair Challenge.
And people have been dying mysteriously.
Developing weird symptoms days after seeing the video. I took it as a combination of like The Ring because of the video. Mixed with... I had a really great example, but again, this was 2 weeks ago that we watched it, so my brain...
But, she watches this video and slowly she starts feeling weird, but she's like vlogging herself the whole time. She has these really weird tendencies. It's kind of spooky and eerily shot, which I was really hyped on. She starts talking to this guy online who's been watching her videos like, oh my God, keep filming yourself. Like we have to find out what's going on with you. I just want to make sure you're okay. They never meet face to face, but you slowly start seeing this girl like unravel, going like psychopathic tendencies. And she even films herself sleeping, which is really creepy. That's probably the creepiest scene in the whole movie.
She starts doing it because in the past she had a tendency to sleepwalk, and she
Yes.
explains that as she
Wants
would
to see what she was doing.
Yeah, she wanted to see if she was, because she was feeling certain types of way differently each day and having suspicions that she was sleepwalking. So that was her way to prove it to herself, because she wasn't doing anything within the house to make it obvious that she got up in her sleep. She wouldn't have known. I personally don't want to give away the ending in case anyone who is watching or watches this later.
She doesn't want to spoil this one, okay?
Because I think everyone will have a different take on it. I read a lot online about it after we watched it because I was so curious, and I can't help but feel the way a lot of people probably felt after watching our horrible review of Skinamarink. Because we dislike Skinamarink so much, and I've heard enough bad things about this movie, and I walked away feeling confused by everyone's negative approach.
See, like, I heard like kind of a mixed bag about We're All Going to the World's Fair. I heard it was just like interesting and very original, which it was, you know, like the whole like vlogging, which is essentially what we're doing right now, thing is like kind of a little underexplored. Like it's never been fully taken to its utmost potential. So like watching this girl sort of unravel and all these spooky tendencies happening to her after she watches this video on YouTube. Hold on, there's a fire truck going by, so if we cut out,
just keep going. I think you'll be fine.
It's just cool and interesting. There is one scene that I was just bringing up before where she's filming herself sleeping. Go boys, you got this. She's filming herself sleeping, kind of like in Paranormal Activity, where you see the girl, like you see that the girl standing next to her husband, and like you're watching the time code just go, and it's like, damn, she was standing there for that long. That's creepy as shit. So a similar thing happens in this movie. So she's laying on the edge of the bed, kind of like, you know, like this, and she doesn't know this is happening. But the guy who watches her videos was like, whoa, watch this, watch what happened. And like, there's like this creature almost inside of her, and it's just like, and like moves up, and like the girl's sleeping, but like her body's doing this. It's kind of scary. Like I was kind of freaked out by it. And movies don't freak me out that easily, but I was like, whoa, cool, kind of spooky. But you never really fully find out what's going on with the girl, and that's like the only reason I had a problem with this movie is like there's no resolution, but what Vicky found out like after we watched it,
there's a lot of different theories.
Okay, but say what you read, that one thing that you were telling me after we finished it, because it makes me like the movie more. Honestly,
I don't want to say it because it's very personal to the director, and again, it's up to interpretation. Don't. But there were a lot of different theories. Literally just type it in Google, even like the title of the movie, We're All Going to the World's Fair, and like movie theories, what have you, because there's a lot of
I'm going to say it because like you're beating around the bush and you won't understand.
What I read online, and again, this wasn't a direct quote from the director, which is why I don't want to say it, because it's not directly from them. It's a metaphor. A metaphor for how they were feeling going through sexual transitioning into a woman. And
it makes a lot of sense hearing that after watching it.
And this girl is
alone,
virtually the only person in the movie.
Yeah, she's alone, like filming herself, watching videos only, like she has no friends. And hearing that's essentially like the metaphor of the movie was the filmmaker. Again, like I don't know, so like forgive any ignorance, but Vicky was like reading up on it after we finished it. Because
I was so curious to see what other people's views on the movie were.
But hearing that it's a metaphor for
I locked my phone and put it down. I was like, that makes
hearing
so
that
much
as
sense.
Like this movie is essentially about what it's like to transition, but like, you know, put to weird imagery and stuff like that. And it's like, that makes so much sense. And the fact that you never fully understand what's happening to this girl in this movie, you're just watching her go like a little crazy or a little like getting like a little spooky and stuff like that by herself. I'm like, yeah, it's like your inner self is finally coming out.
Yeah.
Which makes the movie make a little more sense. But anyway, it was still pretty good. I'd recommend that one if you like.
It's on Shudder.
Yeah, if you like paranormal movies, like it's a little paranormal, and it kind of, if you like found footage movies too, because it's just like you're watching right now. It's like watching this, and it like intercuts with like real footage and the found footage of like the YouTube vlog kind of thing very well. Like what's the vlog, and like what's like the director of photography is like actually filming. Like they do that very seamlessly, which is kind of hard to do, and like you don't realize it until you're doing it yourself. But I gave that what did I give that one? I think I gave it like a 6 point. I think I did a 6.3 out of 10 on that one.
But, and I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. So it's about even.
Yeah, I was kind of nervous to watch it because it looks scary as fuck. And like I know don't judge a book by its cover, but like the cover's a little spooky, and I'm like, I don't know what this movie's about. I didn't look into it at all. And I think that's a good way to go into the movie, like, because I was like, whoa, like I'm a little freaked out. So
yeah,
definitely
I
recommend
really
checking that
it.
one out if you like the movies I said earlier, type of movies anyway.
And the last new movie we've watched in the last couple weeks was Cocaine Bear.
Oh yeah, we watched Cocaine Bear
finally yesterday.
I knew what I was getting from this movie, like a bear does cocaine and it's completely batshit crazy, and the story's just gonna be goofy. I didn't want to go see it in the movie theater just because I'm like, dude, like
I'm not paying the extreme amount of money it costs to go see a movie.
Yeah, and like we don't party anymore, so it's like that'd be a movie like I'd go see like if I was like drunk as hell, like with a bunch of
in my purse.
Yeah, like with a bunch of buddies and be like, oh, this is insane. But
we don't do that anymore. So
yeah, but it got released on Peacock, so like we have Peacock. We're like, oh, sick! We can finally see Cocaine Bear. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fun. But it wasn't as goofy and over the top as I hoped it would be. Oddly enough, like don't get me wrong, it's goofy as all hell and ridiculous. Like it's about a bear who sniffs coke, eats cocaine, and then slowly becomes addicted to cocaine and like starts killing people and acting a fool in this town. But it never goes like completely ballistic where
off the rails,
which it could have.
Yeah.
Like all the characters in it are like almost afterthoughts. Carrie Russell and her daughter, she's looking for her daughter and her daughter's friend who like skipped school to go like paint a waterfall. What is it? Ray Liotta's last role. Rest in peace, dude. He's a cocaine dealer, and that's where all the cocaine came from. It like was getting thrown out of a plane so they could go scoop it up later. And lo and behold, there's a wild bear who just like stumbles upon it and eats a bunch of coke. But you know what you're getting, man. It's a bear
in the name.
Yeah, it's a cocaine fueled bear killing people in the woods.
And of course, based on an actual thing that happened where a plane dropped a lot of a cocaine package, if not all of a cocaine package, and a wild grizzly bear ate it.
Black bear.
Whatever. But it ate it and didn't go on a rampage. It had a heart attack and died.
Yes.
But that movie would have been less than 15 minutes long.
The fact that like happened at all is amazing, and like the whole being able to put like based on true events like makes people want to see this and like learn about the real story. But it was amazing. Like kudos Elizabeth Banks for like making this movie,
putting on the director's hat for this.
Yeah, like
taking one for
she directed this movie about a bear addicted to cocaine, and it made it and was a pretty big success. But like I was saying, it's not crazy enough for me. And the bear is all computer generated, which is like, dude, I get it. You don't want to be fucking around with like a real black bear, but like it looks so silly and like cartoony in certain scenes that like it kind of takes me out of the movie. But some of the death scenes were amazing. There's a scene where an animal expert is in the woods climbing a tree, and the bear smells the cocaine on him that he just fell in and runs up the tree and just fucking rips him to pieces and snorts the coke off his body while he's eating him alive, and all the blood and shit is dripping off the tree. That was great. And there's a scene where they're taking a park ranger away in an ambulance, and the bear is chasing them. and the bear just fucking jumps into the ambulance, and like the woman goes flying out of the fucking ambulance, and her face smashes and smushes on the floor, and the guy EMT's wrist gets eaten off, and his hand is just fucked like this. It's insane. That was my favorite part, but the CGI like makes it.
It takes you out.
It takes me out, and like, dude, I get it. This movie was a lot of fun. It could have been more fun. Like the fact that Ray Liotta, his last movie, I was like, well, Ray Liotta, like he's gonna kill this role. Not
there
really.
wasn't much role to kill.
Yeah, like he's just like this. I'm glad they got him to play like a cocaine like head honcho and shit like that.
It's funny in that regard, but
it's like, of course, that's who he's playing. Like, come on, Goodfellas, man. He's just like But I don't know. All the characters in it, like, you don't really give a fuck what happens to them at all. You want to follow this stupid fucking computer generated bear around and be like, what the fuck is the bear getting into, man? Oh shit! Like,
yeah, and we don't need to wax poetic about a movie called Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
You get exactly what you get. However,
yeah. And
I also have this bobblehead that I bought.
You don't know shit.
From The Wire, Isaiah Whitlock Jr. was also in it, another character.
I bought that directly from him, thanks to him responding to my tweet to him on Twitter, asking where.
Asking where?
Where. He posted the video of the bobblehead, and I said, where? And he responded with the link to buy it, and I bought it.
But yeah, I saw so many people like praising this movie, like this is gonna be the best movie of the year, and it's like, dude, yeah, it was a lot of fun, but the same people who praised this movie also were like trashing the movie Prey for having CGI animals, and it's like, dude, this whole movie's about a CGI animal. But I did really like, if you can hear in the background, we're playing like this like royalty-free like synthesizer music. That's like what the soundtrack of Cocaine Bear was, and I was like, damn, I didn't expect that, but that was really cool. Some of the kill scenes are, you know, over the top and fun, but I only gave it a 6.8 out of 10, but still pretty high. I just thought this movie was going to be so batshit crazy that I was going to love it to pieces, and I was a little upset that I didn't like absolutely love it. I just thought like, it was all right.
We still have 3 more movies you picked up.
What was it. What did you give Cocaine Bear?
2.5 out of 5. It was enjoyable. It was just out of control. Like, that would be a movie
enough, in my opinion.
That if we had people over and I just had the TV on as like background, it was just on, no one's really watching it, I would have put that on. Yeah,
I'd say like that would be a good way to describe the movie, is good background noise. It's like, you know, like you don't have to pay attention. You're like, oh, it's a...
Yeah, you don't have to watch every moment. You're not missing that much.
Yeah. And what else we got? We got some more stuff that we picked up recently. One of her favorite movies ever.
Of all time.
Another one, like I was saying, like it'd be very easy for us to order this type of shit online, but seeing it in the wild is just like more exciting. It's like, that's why we don't buy a lot of movies. It's like, you know what, let's wait and see if we ever see it. And if we see it and are in the mood, we'll buy it. But one of her favorites of all time.
Dazed and Confused. They had it at our Best Buy that Bill has talked about.
Criterion, which is pretty sick.
And the first time I had seen it, he goes to Best Buy without me a lot because I just drag along behind him. They had this the last time I went with him, and I didn't get it because it was pretty expensive, and I was like, I don't know. I got to think on that. I forgot about it, and the last time I went with him, they had it still. And I said, take my money. It's meant to be. We also never ever got like a really cool edition of this movie somehow, even though it's like, you know, like, God, a classic coming of age story, Dazed and Confused. But yeah, like a Criterion edition of Dazed and Confused on 4K. Like, this is actually one of the movies we watched and we're like, you know, you could see what you're paying for with like this movie. Whereas like I was saying earlier, like the Shout Factory ones, like, yeah, there's like a lot of cool special features, which I like. But like the movie itself didn't look that good. Dazed and Confused looked awesome. It like you almost feel like you're in the movie, like following along with all these kids. It's so good. But it was one of those movies like when I was growing up, it wasn't my coming of age story like it was for her. I loved Dazed and Confused, don't get me wrong, but I was like always more of a like kids in adventure, like Goonies and stuff like that, and Monster Squad, more so Monster Squad than the Goonies, but yeah, it comes with like posters, all sorts of cool stuff. Yeah, it's The soundtrack was my first CD.
The soundtrack is, oh God.
If my sister is watching this, haha, my first CD was the soundtrack to Dazed and Confused, and I took it from my sister.
But yeah, and Vicky doesn't really like buy movies that much. I'm more of the movie buyer. Like, you know, she's like a little wiser when it comes to movies. Like, it has to be something she absolutely loves for her to buy. And Dazed and Confused falls into that category. And like, even I'm hyped to own that just because it's the best way you can see the movie. And like I was saying earlier, we don't buy everything that comes out. That like we see a lot of videos of people with like enormous collections and like
That's fine. You can pull that off and have
yeah,
the
like
space
not to like dissuade you from doing that, but like these kids will go every Tuesday on release day and buy every movie that comes out. And I'm like, dude, like, what do you do for a living to afford it? And it's like, you know, if you can and want to, by all means, do it.
You do like, you boo-boo, but we also, on top of finances, we live in a small space.
Yeah, we live in like a smaller one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
But not even that. It's just like, what are you going to – there's so many movies that come out that like I'm just like, I don't care to own that movie. It's like I only buy a movie that I know I'm definitely going to want to watch this. Like it's, you know, all time for me. And it's like you might look at like all the movies we have around us and be like, no, you're crazy. There's no way you like all these movies. It's like, no, like every movie I own, like I will definitely rewatch. Like that's why I buy them.
The angle we're at, you don't see.
You don't see like
two in the wall shelves filled
and cabinets and another shelf over there. Like we even have way too many movies. And I'm saying like all these kids that are buying all this new shit that comes out. It's like, dude, go for it. But another fire truck. Go boys. But like, don't ever feel like you need to buy everything. Like I buy stuff, rebuy stuff anyway. Like the next couple movies I've rebought these movies so many times. I only buy movies if I really, really love them. And like, I only get like the super special editions for movies I love. And like,
and we'll
have to have every version of it.
We will sell off older editions that aren't special editions.
Yeah,
just to make room.
Yeah, like we don't hold on to like an older DVD if we like buy like a new like 4K or even like a Blu-ray.
Unless it's like a special edition, which DVD didn't do very often.
Yeah, not that often, but they did. But like, you know, we're not like one of those people like I have to own every version of this movie. It's like, no, I just want like the best version of a movie I really love.
Yeah.
Which these fall into that category. Mm-hmm. So we were just saying I love finding movies in the wild. That's probably when I buy the most movies. But these two I had to order from Vinegar Syndrome, who like as a movie collector, you know, these dudes are ahead of the fucking game. They are making like the coolest special editions of the most random ass movies you've ever seen. And like, I've never heard of half the shit they put out, but boy, like they give it the fucking special treatment. And one of the movies that we really love and even have dressed as Stretch and Chop Top from, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Now, I've owned this movie. This is one that falls into the category of like, Jesus, I have rebought this movie so many times. Like, I'm just talking shit about all that, but like, I love this movie. I've had this movie on tape. I've had 2 versions on DVD. I've had 3 DVDs or 3 Blu-rays of it. And this comes out from Vinegar Syndrome. I'm like, dude, do I really buy another version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2? Yeah. They did a sale recently where they were like, hey, like, this is going to go out of print, which, you know, means that like it's going to be gone forever. You'll never be able to buy it again.
Only
on
like, eBay for astronomical
like prices. Rent. But Texas Chainsaw 2, it comes in like a fucking crazy hard loader box. It's got the classic like Breakfast Club themed poster, the original poster art, and all you fucking crazy people who love cardboard
enthusiasts.
I just love this movie, so I had to, of course, have this before it disappeared forever. But yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, a fucking all-time favorite of mine. Still have not bought the original Texas Chainsaw 4K.
Because really, how clear do you need that to be? You almost like the grit, the filth of it.
Yeah, that's one of those movies that, like, I find Texas, the original, of course, not 2. 2 is goofy and fun and way completely different tonally than Texas Chainsaw 1. Texas Chainsaw 1 what makes it good and scary is
the film.
it's gritty.
Yeah.
It's like sketchily. I hate using that word, but
Well, it's not a word.
Yeah, it's just like kind of shot like kind of, you know, haphazardly, like the grains on like the film and shit like that are what make that spooky.
Yeah.
So
losing
like,
that would take you out of it.
Like that's my thoughts on it anyway. Like I'm sure I will eventually buy it, but for right now I'm like, dude, like I think watching that movie super clear would almost take away from its effectiveness. But anyway, that was another tangent. But and the last thing that I bought recently, another Vinegar Syndrome, fucking Roadhouse.
I was really excited for this.
One of my favorite movies of all time. Patrick Swayze, rest in peace, man. I never really had like a super cool edition of Roadhouse. So like unlike Texas Chainsaw 2, I've never had like a version of this movie where I'm like, wow, like the bonus features on this shit are amazing, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and shit like that. So I saw this come out. I'm like, well, I have to have it. It's one of the best movies ever. But it's so sick, man. It like opens up like a little box. I know I sound like a fucking dweeb like talking about this shit. But yeah, like comes in this like hard box. Got like a sweet little booklet with like little factoids on the movie and all that stuff. Like real nerdy shit. Another fucking piece of cardboard. And then the 4K version of the movie, which is like, God, one of, if not, it's got to be probably like in my top 15 movies of all time. Like a great action movie about a bouncer in a bar just fucking shit up after like this town wrongs him and his buddy. But anyway, Roadhouse. I spent way too much money on this, but it was one of those things I had to have.
I will say I did encourage him to get both.
That you did.
I knew he wanted both so bad. We at the last convention we went to back in October, Chiller Theater in New Jersey, Vinegar Syndrome has a table there, at least everyone we've ever gone to.
Yeah.
And I got Reformed Schoolgirls. Did you buy any? You bought,
I bought Death Wish 2. Yeah, like I was saying, there are a lot of companies these days, like they are referred to as boutique labels. They're not.
I mean, they kind of are.
Which is like, that's why you don't see stuff like this version of Roadhouse and stuff like that at Best Buy, because like they're exclusive. You have to special order these, or you have to go to a specialty store to get them because of like, you know, all the hard work and
the amount of money
they charge for these fucking things, you know. But like Vinegar Syndrome is one of those companies, and they are putting out like really obscure titles. Like she said, she bought Reformed Schoolgirls the last time we saw them. I bought Death Wish 2, like a special edition of that. We bought Fade to Black. I bought Ticks. Like some random ass movies, man.
But always a great time, and the guys that they have working the booth
are always really nice.
Are always so
and you
nice.
can tell like
I'm psyched. And if they're busy talking with someone who's really passionate about the movies they're putting out, I don't care about that. I have to wait because it's awesome hearing them interact so friendly.
Yeah, it's
with the general public. Like it's not common.
The reason these movies are so good is because they're essentially being put out by fans of the movie. It's like, you know, she's not like a big fan of like the special features and stuff like that. Like, whereas I almost will buy a movie just because of a behind the scenes interview that's on the bonus features. I love that nerdy shit. I love finding out like the secrets behind my favorite movies. And, you know, I was kind of like trash talking Shout Factory earlier, Scream Factory. Like the thing that makes them good, despite like the new transfers they've been doing are, you know, there's nothing special about them, at least in my opinion. I'm sure there's good ones out there and I haven't seen it yet. But the bonus features, man, like look at like the list of bonus shit you can see on this, you know, it's like, oh, like Carrie, let's talk to the guy who did the lights. Like, I don't know. I love that kind of stuff. And that's why companies like Vinegar Syndrome and Shout Factory and Criterion, like her Dazed and Confused, are so awesome. Is like they are taking the time to put out quality releases of sometimes underseen movies. Dazed and Confused, maybe not so much. Carrie, maybe not so much. But like Texas Chainsaw 2, Ticks, like we said, Reformed Schoolgirls, like all these movies are getting special treatment. And it's like, as a fan of the movies, you're like, dude, awesome. Thank you. You know?
Reformed Schoolgirls for me was really exciting to see made into such a special release because it was a movie that my mom and sister spoke so highly of to me when I was younger, handing me the DVD, like, I just got this, you got to see it. It's a classic. And it is downright dirty, like, not...
I loved it. I've never seen it until you showed it to me.
It was one
amazing.
of the very few
movie.
movies I was able to show Bill that he hadn't already seen previously. That was like the biggest thing when we even first started dating almost 10 years ago.
We'd almost go movie for movie, be like, oh, you've never seen this? Which was...
I had to dig
to
find movies he hadn't seen already.
I mean, we still kind of do it, though. So
no, absolutely. Nice. I jump every time if I had seen something he hasn't. But, I mean, after almost 10 years, it's hard now. It's very difficult to find movies you haven't already seen.
I've seen a lot of movies, but you have too now at this point.
Yes, but Reformed Schoolgirls is just... He did his video on Savage Streets, and that's like my Savage Streets. It's
just like almost like a... what word did I... Trashy, like B movie, you know? Like, that's what it is.
It's a revenge movie.
Yeah. But anyway, just to reiterate... because we are just starting to ramble at this point. But if anyone watched at all or just popped in, like, thank you. You know, we just wanted to get a video out just because we haven't really had the time to sit down, film something, and then edit it. But, oh, hey, Talon, what's up, bud? These are the pickups we talked about that I got. Obviously, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. This shit is incredible. It is out of print for this case, so I'm sorry. I had to have it, and I'm glad I did because now it doesn't exist anymore. Fucking Roadhouse. This still exists. I highly suggest you get this. Dazed and Confused. A fucking all-time coming-of-age fucking classic. And the transfer, the way this movie looked, oh, so good. Another thing about Roadhouse and Texas Chainsaw 2, they look so good. Like, people talk about, like, is it worth the upgrade? Like, should I buy this version, even though, is it going to look that much different? On those two and this, 100%. Like, this, it's like watching it for the first time. It looks so good.
They also have the full track list of the soundtrack in that booklet that comes with the Criterion release of Dazed and Confused. And it is one of the best movie soundtracks I can think of, if not the best, in my humble opinion.
Well, I think
got me into so much of the music I still love.
I think anyone that is watching has probably seen Dazed and Confused and know how amazing the soundtrack is. Just,
I would hope so.
Yeah, that's one of the few where I'm like, yeah, everyone's seen this fucking.
If you disagree, that's fine.
Yeah, whatever. Then I got Carrie, which we haven't watched yet, so I can't speak on how this looks yet. But I never owned it, so happy to own this like super cool fucking steelbook version of it. And The Fog, one of my favorites, John Carpenter, fucking amazing. The picture quality
is fine.
It was fine. Nothing to write home about. So I definitely did not need to upgrade this, but love the movie. Why not? And Arachnophobia, again, those impulse buys they have at the fucking... Oh, they got me with this one. American Pie 1 through 4. The only ones that matter, I would never watch any of the ones that don't have the original cast in it. But dude, I think this was like $10
for 4 movies.
These are movies from my youth, man. You know, it's fun to relive what I felt in high school rewatching these movies. You know, and it's something that I could relate to growing up. So that, and of course, Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. Another one of the goddamn impulse buys. They got me with this one. And what else? The movies we watched that if you want to go back and check out, if you're watching this on the replay or just tuning in now, we talked about Knock at the Cabin, Cocaine Bear, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
All Quiet on the Western Front, and We're All Going to the World's Fair.
And Bodies. But who gives a fuck? We forgot about it because it fucking sucks ass. And I'm sorry I sound like a big fucking old grumpy man yells at cloud, but that Gen Z shit just wasn't it for me. Yeah. But anyway, what do we got going on soon? We'll probably do a video for the new Evil Dead, which is next week. Hi, buddy.
I'll be posting stuff for Alien Day, and
maybe we'll
just under 2 weeks. Maybe
we'll do something for Alien Day, or
one of
do
my favorite franchises. So
yeah,
something I'm really passionate about. Yeah.
maybe we'll do another live for Alien Day where we talk about the Alien movies, because it's a lot to articulate, and like you don't realize how long it takes to put these things together sometimes, or how time consuming. And it's like, I work full time. It's hard for me to, like we might be able to film something, but it'll take me forever to put it together. And it's like doing the live kind of alleviates that and like lets us talk more freely, and like, I don't know, it seems more genuine anyway. We're not editing it. So yeah, we'll probably do Alien Day. We just rewatched the X-Files for like the 5th time, like all the way through. I'm talking season 1 to season 11. Maybe we'll do like an episode where we talk about our favorite episodes from the show. I don't know. Something we've talked about. We'll get around to it when we have time. But regarding the X-Files, we wouldn't talk like completely like about the entire series, because the dudes at Dead Pit did like a really cool like retrospective talking about season 1 like for like 2 hours. And it's like they covered all that. So it would more be like an opinionated video about the episodes that we really like.
And Stuntman Mark has the largest recollection of facts about all the seasons. It's unreal.
Yeah, like it's nice like watching like other YouTube people who are into this kind of stuff like actually know their shit. I don't claim to like know everything, but like I am filled with all this useless knowledge, and like that's why we kind of wanted to do this YouTube thing, even though most of the time we're just kind of talking shit or just like rambling on. But anyway, I think that's enough. I'm sweating my ass off in here.
Yeah, we had to close the windows because it was too noisy with them open, and it's still too noisy with them closed.
Yeah,
so.
And we're still getting used to. We have like a fucking ring light going. I swear to God, this thing just feels like it's giving me a sunburn on my face.
I think it's all your rage.
It's all my rage for bodies. Oh. But yeah, if you watched or are rewatching, thank you guys for watching. Like, it means a lot. We're not doing this for monetary reasons. We're doing this because we love the movies and TV shows that we talk about. Oh wait, there is more stuff we have to talk about.
Oh, Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets. We'll do this quick. We watched Yellow Jackets like the first season all the way through. I thought it was awesome and like almost like David Lynchian.
Steven, season 2 on board.
Yeah. Like the first season, super mysterious. It's dark. It's creepy. You don't know what the fuck's going on. It's jumping from like these girls who survived the plane crash in the mountains to them now, and seeing who died, who survived, what they did to survive. But it's super creepy and eerie, like almost like a weird David Lynch movie. But season 2, we haven't really liked all that much.
I think I would like it more if David Lynch actually directed it, but that's none of my business.
What don't you like about the new season so
It's
far?
just, I find it really boring.
Boring? I don't find it boring.
It's giving me more questions than answers, and season 1 already left me with a lot of questions.
I think that's what I liked about season 1 is all the questions that they left open.
But they're not answering any of them.
I think they're giving away too much in season 2, and that's why I don't like it.
Maybe I need a rewatch. Maybe.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I don't know. But anyway, the season 1 of Yellow Jackets was awesome. I forgot I put that on like the poster, so we had to at least address it. But I'm kind of checked out of season 2. It's not been holding me. They're giving away too much rather than keeping it mysterious. And
I find myself
still entertaining, though.
Mentally checking out watching it, which is a bad sign because I can't even. And the episodes are what, an hour or less long? That's bad.
Yeah, they're
That's
like 50 minutes.
And the other thing that I was pressing you to put on the picture and you didn't was The Last of Us.
Oh, The Last of Us. We obviously watched The Last of Us like along with like the rest of the fucking world.
But we didn't. We're of the minority that didn't play the game.
Yeah.
We're not video game people.
Not a big video game guy. I was when I was younger, like N64 days.
I never was, so.
Yeah, I just never really got into it, but like I heard the game was awesome. It looks awesome. Pedro Pascal, it's like shit, man. There's the Mandalorian right there. Like, fucking sign me up. Love him. From what I've understood, it follows the game pretty well, but the show itself was really entertaining. It kind of like is starting to feel like it's gonna have that Walking Dead syndrome where it's like, all right, like I need something to happen. But because it was only like, what was it, 9 episodes?
I think it was 9. I don't know.
Something like that. The pace moved great, like, you had one dull episode or like one dull half of an episode, and then something crazy would happen. And like the zombies are infected in that are obviously like fungus people, I guess. I don't know what the fuck. Clickers.
Yeah.
But they look awesome and super original. Again, we never played the game, so I don't know.
But I'm relieved that we didn't, because I know how I am as somebody who used to read so frequently. And at one point,
don't want to spoil how the game ends.
I read the book of Gone Girl and then watched the movie back to back and made a list of notes of the differences in my phone. Just as a
So I'm sure like the kids who play this game are probably the same
been that way with the Last of Us game versus the show. I would have been the same way, and I know it. So
from my understanding, though, like it followed it like very closely.
I know I would be nitpicky, is all I'm saying.
Yes, me too. And like, but still, it was super good. That's something like everyone could watch, in my opinion. Like Yellow Jackets, that shit's niche. I don't know how many people are gonna like be super into it.
I wouldn't recommend it to a stranger.
Right. Last of Us, though, good story. It's a guy protecting this little girl essentially the whole way through, taking her to hopefully be the cure of this fucking, I don't know, outbreak, whatever the fuck.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. But I unfortunately know like what happens in the game, and like
he reads too much. He keeps spoiling things for himself. Again, I don't watch trailers. I don't read reviews. None of that. I love trailers.
Yeah, I want to get excited. But anyway, Last of Us, super good. Knowing what happens next, I'm curious to see how they're going to pull it off. How many people are not going to be psyched. But so far, they still got me. I just hope it doesn't become Walking Dead and stretch too thin, because it already had that feeling. But it was good enough for me. So it didn't go too far. But yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So we talked about even the shows we've been watching. We talked about all the movies we bought, all the movies we've seen recently. Sorry we rambled for so long, but I don't know. It's easy to do. But anyway, we'll probably be back next week with like an Evil Dead Rise, talking about Evil Dead Rise. Hopefully it's a lot like Demons 2, you know what I'm saying, with that apartment high rise. Seems like it's going to be pretty good. The trailer looked great. The poster looks too much like Smile, but the movie itself looks good. But anyway, thank you guys for checking this out. I am Bill.
And I'm Vicky.
And yeah.
We're the Marshalls. And you guys have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, have a great Sunday. And thanks again if you watched any little bit of it. Like, we love you guys. Take care. Have a good rest of your weekend. And let me see if I can press X. Bye, guys.